Hi there, this is How I Met Helen. I'm Helen. Join me to do a makeup look for the Nomad Challenge this month. I'm using Nomad's Ghost Town USA. The challenge is to take an old look that you did. For me, it's going to be 5 years ago, and redo it with new formula, new technique, new colors, you know, how your style has changed, how your makeup usage has changed in that time. So the look that I'm doing was using my Hella palette from Odin's Eye, and that one is definitely getting on in years now. Still love it, but this is one of my new favorites. I'm starting with Undead Sheriff. That's this taupe color. And we're forming that winged out corner. My old style was definitely more of a natural look. Like I scrolled back through all of my Instagram, scrolled back through all of my photos I had saved. And I was getting into makeup ahead of 2020, but I had my kids in 2018, and I spent their entire infancy really not using a whole lot of makeup. So it was either go back 10 years or go back 5. And 10 years ago, it was very natural with just a little wing and a bold lip is pretty much all I did. Let's go in with Bandit Queen, this medium brown, and just starting to deepen up this corner. So 2019, 2020, I started getting eyeshadow palettes for the holidays. And Hella was one of my first like high quality palettes that I got. Okay. So I was super psyched to use that. I'm going to go into Deadwood, the darker brown. So my makeup style is always kind of inspired by like retro rockabilly. I started to get into winged liner pretty much before I really got into using color. I loved my, as far as neutrals go, my Urban Decay, my Naked 3 palette. Really using those rosy tones into my neutrals. Now I go more taupe, so this is right up my alley. So I'm going back into Undead Sheriff and pulling that under the lid to kind of tie that in to the winged out area. I've definitely become more comfortable with more color, bigger shapes, but I still love a winged out look. But when you wear glasses all the time, softer looks aren't very visible, and this definitely reminded me of that when I was going back through these looks. So I'm going to take some of, let's see, I'm going to go into Ghost Town, this kind of light greenish taupe. Kind of pull that into the front of the lid to go under my shimmers. I got into colorful makeup quite a lot in the early 20s, last couple years. I've since this year really been embracing the neutrals again, and it probably helps having this palette because they're neutrals that fit my skin tone. I've figured out that I have like a minty sort of undertone because it's a cool olive rather than a warm olive, so I wouldn't call it olive at all. So pulling in those more greenish tones, like in this palette, makes a big difference. Let me grab my glitter primer. This is the one from Moira. And it's basically the same. It's a little thinner, I'd say, than the NYX formula, and the packaging. Like, I used the NYX one for quite a long time, and then the packaging started to bust, and I know lots of people have that problem with that. The formula is too stiff for the packaging. So I switched to one of these indie brands, looking for the right brush. Here we go. So I'm going to go into Calico, California, this green gold. Through the center. Don't mind the noise from my kids playing. My girls are 7 now. All right, let's go into Gold Rush for the front. Oh, that's a lot. Okay. It's definitely more bold than the old look I'm using as inspiration. So we'll just kind of blend upward. Okay, so I'm going to take Rhyolite Nevada for the inner corner and inner third of the lower. I hope you guys can see this all right. I guess we'll see in the editing, because I have to hold this way close to my face in order to see what I'm doing. Okay. Now in that look, I used, I'm sure it was ColourPop's Marigold liner. It's still ColourPop, but I wanted a little more green tone to it, so this is Sub-Zero. I can kind of mix Undead Sheriff and Ghost Town. That's these two lighter colors that I used before to kind of smoke out the lower, just bouncing between them. Just really blended out look is my preference. And blend out the edge of those shimmers. Alright, so we're going to do mascara. I'm using e.l.f.'s Lash and Roll. Just going to deepen up that outer corner again. Going back into Deadwood and some of Arrested Decay, this super dark brown, right into the corner at the lash line. This look is definitely going to be more dramatic than the old look. I have a hard time not doing a big smoked out look whenever I want to do something deep. Yeah, but this is probably my favorite mascara that I've used. I really liked the Benefit Roller Lash that this is duping. So that looks pretty good. Let me put my glasses back on so I can see to do my lip. Take off my lip prep. That was just a lip oil from Cab. So let's see. I think a nude is probably going to go best with this. I've got, this is from e.l.f., the Cream Glide Lip Liner. This is Spill the Tea. Soften those edges, and we'll go in with, this is Maybelline's Carnal Brown. I would never have done a brown lipstick 5 years ago. I was into very vibrant colors when I wore lipstick at all. So I'm just gonna do a touch of this one from Shoppers Drug Mart. Just to add a little shine. Let me see. So this is my look for the Nomad Challenge using Ghost Town USA. Absolutely one of my favorite palettes from last year. Probably my favorite palette altogether from last year. So thanks for joining me and listening to me ramble. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.